Hello, everyone. So I want to try out some different ways to create content. So first, I talk to my laptop, which I really liked. It's super chill. I can just sit down and kind of like talk to myself. Then I tried like walking around with my camera in the daylight, but I messed up my settings a little bit, and my lens is not super good, so it's not ideal. So now I'm just trying to talk to the camera like this, just straight ahead, just standing straight. I will have to see which one feels best for me and in which way I can communicate my message the most authentic, I guess. But it's also in practicing, like you have to practice more and get used to doing it. So that's why I'm just trying different things out, I guess. So the topic I wanted to talk about like right now is accepting that sometimes you just don't feel like anything. You feel like shit, you feel like nothing's going right, you feel sad, you feel disappointed, you feel demotivated, you feel terrible, you feel like there is no point to this all, you feel like everything you do is just shitty and there is no quality in your work, and you feel like nothing's working out and everything's just a mess. And it's also I also do this kind of like to talk to myself a little bit, you know. It's interesting to keep track of your progress. So it's okay. It's fucking okay to feel like this. It's fine to be overwhelmed and to feel like you're not contributing or you're not progressing, or you feel like you're stuck, you know. Like right now I feel like I'm really stuck, and by talking about it, it already loosens it up a little bit. So it's good that you are able to change your inner state by allowing it to change, you know. Like this is a very important realization of mine that I only really experienced very profoundly very recently. And by allowing your feelings to change, they will actually change. It's a funny concept, because if you are trying like holding on to the bad feelings, they kind of like perpetuate. So what you resist persists it's what they always say, and it's true. It actually is really true, and it's so interesting to think about it. Like all these quotes and these sayings and everything, like they sound like they make sense, but until you actually like experience them, they are not that profound. But once you actually felt it, like you really felt it and you really experienced it, then they make so much sense. It's such an interesting thing to realize. Like all these teachings of these Buddhist monks and these great gurus and all their texts, when you read them for the first time, for instance, they sound fairly acceptable, like plausible. They make sense. They're like, yeah, I can understand where they're coming from, or this makes sense, or this rings true somehow. But if you go through life and then you reread these texts, then all of a sudden you'll have a totally different perspective from where you're reading them. Like you will have had different experiences, you'll have different realizations, and then when you read those words again, you realize they're so true. It's really crazy when you think about it. Like what you resist persists, it is true. And when you hear people say it, it sounds like yes, makes sense, but when you actually experience it firsthand, it's such an amazing revelation. And then you realize like, wow, these are true words of wisdom. But you have to go through all the experiences in order to like really appreciate this knowledge or something. So that's an interesting realization that I've had in the last few weeks, I think. But so another thing that I wanted to talk about that is relevant to this topic of feeling stuck, right? Like I recently came up with the idea of, okay, let's make a list of things that I know make me feel good. And it's interesting to think about this, to really sit down and actually like really think about what makes me feel good. And there is two points here. firstly, you have to be aware of what makes you feel good, which is in and of itself something that might be a challenge to really know and feel what makes you feel good, because sometimes you're so confused, you don't really know what makes you feel good. So learning to pay attention to that is an interesting skill to develop, to cultivate, and I believe that you can cultivate that through meditation, and you will be able to pay more attention to your sensations, the sensations in your body, the feelings, the thoughts you're having, and then you will be able to really pinpoint the things that make you feel good or make you feel better. So right now I want you to think of 3 things that, you know, when you do them afterwards, you feel energized, you feel excited, you feel inspired, you feel good. Just take a moment to come up with 3 things that you enjoy doing and that you know leave you with a good feeling afterwards. So just 3 things. And when you came up with those 3 things, I want you to write them down and put it in your phone, put it on a note paper. I don't care where you put it, like where you write it down. I personally did it in my phone because I have my phone always with me, almost always. So it's easy to access the list if I have to. And then now you can also think of 3 things that when you do them you might feel worse. Like for instance, I don't know, you binge watch a complete series on Netflix, or whatever, you watch some stupid videos for like hours in a row, or you say something nasty to a loved one, whatever it is, like 3 things you feel shitty afterwards, and then also write those down. And then try to figure out which one of the 2 lists you do the most things from, and then you want to swap items, kind of. You want to exchange a behavior or something that you do that makes you feel bad afterwards for one that actually makes you feel good. And you try to diminish the amount of things that make you feel bad, and you replace them for something that makes you feel good on the list of things that make you feel good. And you want to extend the list of things that make you feel good as much as possible, and you want to reduce the things that make you feel bad as much as possible. Like there can be a whole list of things that make you feel bad, but the things you actually do, you want to reduce them as much as possible. And so why am I telling you this? Because just now, like 20 minutes ago, I felt like really shitty. I was like so in a bad negative space in my head. I was like, I feel a lot of frustration, anger, sadness, disappointment, all these negative things. And I realized, oh hey, I have this list in my phone of things that make me feel good or better. And I scrolled through and I found one item on the list was create something. And then I just thought about like, and I'm just really getting emotional about this. I don't even know why. Probably because I just usually spend so much time in this negative mind space, negative energy, that I allow myself to become so consumed with this. And I like now I realize like, oh, I have a choice. Like I can decide to not stay in that space and consciously move my focus onto something that actually is productive, is creative, is allowing me to be in my power, to share something, to create something. So I went through this list and I found create something, and so I decided, okay, I will just record a video and maybe share some of my feelings or some of my thoughts. And that's actually what I did. And right now I already feel a lot better than 20 minutes ago, because I actually took action towards changing my inner state. And like this is such a powerful thing to consider. Like I already feel a lot better by just creating this video, and so this is something that I wanted to share with you guys. Like if you ever feel stuck and you feel like you're not moving forward, you're not making progress as much as you want to, you feel lost, you feel lonely, you feel alone, firstly, it's okay. Like it's difficult to allow yourself to feel like that. It's very difficult to be okay with the fact that you feel like this. allow yourself to experience these feelings, recognize that you feel this way, and when you recognize that you feel like this, then when you're aware, then you can divert your attention and you can choose something that is gonna make you feel better. You can do it consciously, but the process is, first you are unaware of the way you feel, then you become aware of the way you feel, then you accept that you feel like that, and then you try to divert your focus and actively go look for something that can make you feel better. And this is like a very easy 4-step process, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. So if you too feel stuck sometimes, this might help you. Like I never expected this. That's why I started to get emotional, because it's actually the first time I really tried doing this, and I feel it actually really works. So it was a very powerful thing for me to realize. So I hope this helps at least some of you out there. I just want to help people deal with difficult times, difficult situations, because I feel like I have had a lot of suffering and difficulties dealing with those things. And for me personally, it helps when somebody talks about what they're going through. And so I hope to be able to provide some of you with the same support and the same feeling of comfort somehow. So yeah, I hope this helps at least some of you out there. Thank you for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon. So cheers, bye.